Hello everyone and welcome to another video. It's tournament season again for the 2026 World Tournament for base game War of the Ring. I know some of the other content creators have already been putting out their videos, so I'm a little late to the party, but I'll give you what I got. My first pairing was against the very good player, Vinali, who's actually the showrunner, or not the showrunner, the tournament runner this year. So that was kind of a funny happenstance. We decided that for both of our first two games, because it is always a best of three, we were going to allow the free people both games to have one muster point. Then we did a roll for who gets Shadow first, and Vinali won Shadow first. It's sometimes considered a mild advantage because Shadow is generally favored, so you get that momentum, so to speak. So we begin in our game one of 2026 World Tournament. Shadow starts with Shadow Lengthens and Lure of the Ring, some fun cards, although little hard to use some of those. Maybe Shadow Lengthens has some fun early game uses. And I begin with Imrahil and the Eagles are coming. I'm actually really happy to see Imrahil. It's a card you can play early on and a card you want to have played early on, so that's exciting for me. I chose to put my one muster point as a full elite in Woodland Realm. Part of the whole point of this tournament is to discover if there is even a meta, or rather a best place, and how many muster points are good for free people. I think I'm going to save that for another discussion some other day, but that's where I chose to put my elite. Okay. Shadow puts 0 eyes, which is generally considered the strongest position, but rolls 3. Gets a 3 hybrid, so they at least get their musters. And this is my initial roll. And against 3 eyes, and with Imrahil in hand, I'm thinking this is a pretty good crowning Aragorn turn. I obviously would love it if Shadow had 4 Palantirs and 3 eyes, but we'll take it. Yeah. So that's where I go. It is a little interesting. It's always kind of fun to think about these things. Like, obviously, by choosing to crown Aragorn first, I've set the game down a very specific path. It's always kind of fun to think about the quote unquote path less traveled, or the road less traveled. It'd be interesting to see this game played again where I didn't choose that, but we'll dive into it. Only one choice here. Yep. To bring my Gondorian friend or not? Yeah, boy, do I not have the answer to that. But I chose to bring Boromir. Isengard is mustered. Saruman is brought in. I give a ring. I high-five the Osgiliath guy on the way in. Vinali moves the Barad-dûr to Gorgroth and Far-Harad to Near-Harad. I'm a little interested by that. I suppose you just don't want to tip your hand where the Dol Guldur army is going yet. Just strikes me as a little odd, but you were going to want to do it at some point, and you were going to want your units fighting Gondor, so cool. Crown Aragorn, and Shadow comes to Minas Morgul, so cool. Into round 2, I get Treebeard and Guards of the Citadel. Love to see Guards of the Citadel in this situation. Shadow gets Foul Thing and Orcs Multiplying again, and they haven't even left Dol Guldur yet, so Orcs Multiplying again is excellent. Foul Thing is fun. I've done quote-unquote 5 corruption damage to the Fellowship by separating Aragorn and Boromir, so with Foul Thing and Lure, you could really get some corruption game going. Fellowship okay, 1 eye allocated. Interesting now that there's been no movement to, even though there was no movement, to still allocate an eye. But 2 more rolled, 2 more musters, so maybe Witch King? Yes, with the Elven Ring, can definitely get a Witch King. And a good roll for the free people, a nice mix, and maybe even a Kill Gandalf. I think about it. Yeah, I forget what I was thinking there, but I was thinking about doing something silly, and I have to think, no, this is a tournament. Try and think through, be a little bit more careful. So I'm looking at least one movement, hopefully kill Gandalf, and then just get Gandalf with Will of the West. That'd be prime. Unfortunately, Gondor, I have to worry about Minas Tirith going under siege, and I don't have a card to save Aragorn, and I do really need him to not be under siege. And I really don't want to give another ring. So that maybe is where my will is going, or my character die, so to speak. Guards of the Citadel can reinforce Minas Tirith, so I don't have to put a muster into bringing them to war. Maybe do Imrahil first. Honestly, Imrahil first I don't hate. Get a Gandalf cycle while you're there. But I choose to move out Aragorn. Yeah, looking back on it now, I think I prefer cycling guards or cycling Imrahil. Honestly, cycle guards. Why? When? Maybe I'm thinking one muster to bring Gondor close to war. She hits Osgiliath, and then I muster in Minas Tirith and have guards of the Citadel for the reinforce. I guess that's what I'm thinking. Sauron goes to war. No, and then I cycle guards. Yeah. Do I not draw for Gandalf? Did I seriously forget to draw for Gandalf? Wow. Yeah, that sucks. Well, okay. That's embarrassing. We're off to a great start of remembering the rules. Osgiliath has attacked, no card, no hits. I get one back, so that's nice. And I retreat to North Athilion. I'm at war. There's a free Minas Morgul. It's going to be a bit of a knockdown drag out. Shadow's slow off the mark here. I end up deciding to go ahead and take Minas Morgul. It's 2 regulars, so it's not as simple as just one great host and I'm gone. And I move Edoras to West Emnet for preparation of defending Helm's Deep. Man, I can't believe I didn't cycle for Gandalf. Okay. Elven Ring to attack Minas Tirith, put it under siege. Okay. I'm not sure that was strictly necessary anymore, but I move the Fellowship with the Will as safe. And the Witch King, of course, is mustered in. So that makes sense. Shadow gets many kings, so that's a great host, and Candles of Corpses. Lots of good shadow corruption options here for Shadow. As soon as the Fellowship's not in Rivendell, I get Gwai here and Book of Mazarbil. Gwai here being a Daring Defiance. I have Boromir facing off against the Witch King, so I'm happy to see that. Book's probably not going to do its thing this game, but I guess abstractly one move could put Aragorn in South Rovanian, and then I could do it. Aragorn could play Book of Mazarbil in Erebor. I'm not going to, but I hadn't thought about it at the time. Fellowship, okay, 1 I allocated, 1 more rolled, varied roll for the Shadow, so that's good for them, and 3 wills, 2 characters. Let's kill that Gandhi. So, I decided to start by putting 1 elite in Dol Amroth. I do not feel that was important. Why am I doing that? I guess I'm doing that so that if Shadow musters Southrons, I then spend another will or something like I'm trying to preemptively avoid Day Without Dawn by putting everything into Dol Amroth. So by stacking Umbar, Venali has made me nervous that maybe they have Day Without Dawn. So I risk holding this 1 will, I guess, yeah. Move and safe. And it's orcs multiplying again, which is scary in its own right. I pass. Yeah, I guess. Minas Tirith is attacked. It's a character card, which is almost certainly going to be spending some of the Nazgul leadership for a bonus, like Cruel Weather or something. Or not Cruel Weather, Cruel as Death. I choose to Daring Defiance the Dread and Despair, which is the other main thing that could be. I'm a little surprised by spending the Daring Defiance or the Dread and Despair / Candles here when Candles can be pretty good on the Fellowship, but maybe there's just a desire by the Shadow to cycle, but you're not going to cycle with one of the They Are Terribles. I guess a little nervous about how big the army is and don't want to get hit by a particularly lucky roll by the free people. Shadow gets 1, and I get 3 back. So I think about casualties. I go ahead and take a regular, because I have yet to lose a regular, so I can't make change with casualties, and I have Boromir, so it doesn't matter, quote unquote. Shadow stops, draws Flocks. Maybe that'll become useful. They have 3 There Terribles. And then stacks everybody in Gorgoroth to go retake Minas Morgul. So, and to reinforce the Witch King, which makes sense. It's unfortunate I can't do something silly in a meaningful way to like North Athelion. I think about spending the will, and obviously I don't. And I move this character die down, and Vinali rolls double 6. Because it looked like I was going to move. And I say, you're fine. I was moving. It's a double hit. It's fine. But we choose to take the actual roll that happened after I actually said I was moving, rather than the preemptive roll. Now, obviously, the double hit would have been handy here. I would love to take Gandalf, but trying to play at least a little bit by the tournament rules. Not that I'm hitting myself for missing the Gandalf draw at all. Okay. So we decide to move on. Minas Morgul is attacked. Obviously, I go under siege. Why don't I just choose to move again here? I feel like another move of the Fellowship, just kill Gandhi. Get him gone. Get him ready for next round. Maybe I'm just worried I won't be able to muster Gondor before they're put under siege, and I just really want. But I mean, if I'm holding 3 regulars for a theoretical dead men, there's not that many guys left to muster, and I choose to put in Lossarnach rather than a leader in Dol Amroth. Maybe I'm gambling on a help unlooked for. Minas Morgul is attacked with just regulars and a leader. Strategy card is chosen. I choose no card. I don't have a card to play other than Imrahil, and I'm going to save him. So it is a many kings, and they get the 1 hit. So Minas Morgul maybe cost Shadow 1.5 dice and a great host. Probably not worth it in the end, but it very easily could have been more than that. So I don't think it was a poor decision. I draw Mirror and Thranduils for the next round, and they get Dreadful Spells and Return to Valinor. Those are excellent cards for breaking the siege of Minas Tirith. Dreadful Spells to soften it up, and Deadly Strife to finish it off. So Shadows, of course, happy to see those. 1 I allocated, 4 more rolled. Shadow is just hot on eyes this game. And I rolled this move. Yeah, I just really wish instead of 2 regulars in Gondor, I had killed Gandalf and was getting Gandalf the White this round. And I have Mirror Galadriel, and it's not even helping. Yeah, I get the sweet round 4 Gandalf guide bonus. Yeah, I have some cards that are playable, that's for sure. So I open up with Eagles Are Coming. I think because I just don't want to play Imrahil, I could play Book, but I don't want to. And I don't want to double cycle with Thranduils. I'm not really sure why not. I think double cycling with Thranduils is the better option here. Save the heroic death. The Eagles Are Coming is a very minimal effect. But I do it in Minister, then I roll 2 6s. So I actually kill 2 Nazgul. And draw a character card. I get Grey Company. Could matter. Strider's out and about. Aragorn's out and about. And then Venali just musters the 2 Nazgul right back. I then cycle Thranduils. See, yeah, that would have just been better. Even with the perfect hit to kill 2 Nazgul, I don't think that was meaningful. So I get Thranduils. I get draw into Dane and Celeborns. Both cards I'm excited to see here. I probably kill Book. Maybe Mirror. Honestly, an Ent. Probably kill the Ent. I kill Book. Okay. Yeah, okay. I don't hate it. Nazgul, Minas, Morgul, regular to South Rune. Not really getting that move, but certainly indicating that the Dew line is going to be threatened. So I play Dane. Also, this is just a card I can cycle without overdrawing. Draw into Swords and Eriador. And Southrons are taking the long walk. South Athelion is moved into. I reinforce Pelargir and a leader into Dol Amroth. I think that's fine. Yeah. I wonder if a ring move. Probably should have ring moved with one of those Palantirs. Just to kill and get Gandhi. Too slow getting Gandhi. I think that's the lesson there. I move. I am hit. It is an eye. It's a 1 reveal. Do I take it for Gandalf? The answer should absolutely be yes. Instead, I risk it. And I draw another eye. So Gandalf's going to survive into turn 5 here. I mean, it was a 3 in 15. So 20% chance. And if you count the 0 reveals as also unhelpful, so a 5 out of 15. So I took my 2/3 chance to get something. And honestly, the 1s and the 1 reveals are the same. So it was more like a 1 in 3 to improve my position, roughly a 1 in 3 to be equal, and a 1 in 3 to be worse for swag numbers. Not a good move. Absolutely, this move should have been kill the Gandalf. So we go into the next round. Shadow gets Fighting Uruk-hai and Ringwraiths are abroad. Both powerful cards. Not going to think too hard about Shadow's discards here. It chooses to be Phlox and something else. I draw Elven Rope and Red Arrow. Actually pretty glad to see Red Arrow. Both the Scouts and Red Arrow's effect are pretty useful here. Lure of the Ring. I guess you just don't want to pick Gandalf out of the crowd and you're worried that it's going to be I said I wouldn't think about Shadow's discards, so I won't. My discards, on the other hand, throw the Ents and Mirror? Ents and Rope. I throw the Mirror and Swords and Eriador. I'm attached the hip to that end that I can't use. It's not even, it's like one of the worst Ents. I would say this is probably the worst Ents card. Would you guys agree with that? Hjorndark is, I would say, full out the front best. And then whatever the middle one is that I don't remember the name of, where you hit extra times rather than more likely to hit. Fellowship okay, 1 eye allocated, and Shadow has decided to stop, Sauron has decided to stop looking for his ring, and this is a pretty good roll for me. I can get some more Gandalf cycles out of my life, but again, I really should be ring moving and killing Gandalf, but so I choose to hide first. Okay, I think that makes sense. Minas Tirith is reinforced, and Dol Guldur goes west with both Thranduil's, the muster point in Woodland Realm, and Dane in Erebor. Just giving up on the dew line seems to make a fair amount of sense to me. So the points at this point for Shadow are almost certainly Gondor, which is going to be a knockdown drag out, Lorien, and Helm's Deep. So we'll see how that goes. I Elven Rope with a cycle into Challenge of the King. Strider's not with with an army, but maybe someday that'll be useful. Dreadful Spells is played. I think this is a very reasonable play. You've got 4 Nazgul over Minas Tirith. You're only likely to get 1 hit, but even 1 hit would be nice. She gets 3. And that's a big deal. Really wish I had House of Stewards right now for another Shadow, reinforce while under siege. I don't have it. I pass. Minas Tirith is attacked. I probably should use the Sudden Strike here. Since that's as good as it's going to get, maybe I'm going to use the Brave Stand. I guess the Brave Stand. I Sudden Strike. Okay. Boromir does a Sudden Strike for 1 hit. Reasonable. Shadow hits 2. And I hit 1. Press. Draws into a Zilder's Bane. No card from Shadow. I Brave Stand because I'm about to lose my only companion I expect to be on the board for a while in great companies of marginal usefulness. There's the last hit from Shadow, but I get 2 more. So Minas Tirith fell fast, but it hit pretty hard the whole time. So that was good. He could have grade companied, yeah. Celeborn's Gladrim is good. I draw help unlooked for 1 turn too late for Lossarnach or Pelargir to have done anything. And Gandalf cycles into Power of Tom Bombadil. Unlikely to matter, but advantageous is always nice. Dimril Dale gets stacked, / the Fellowship gets stacked on. Man, the Fellowship is going way too slow here. Lossarnach is attacked, assumably from the Witch King. In fact, it must be with that dice. We both get a hit, so Gondor has continued to hit. Something like 2/3 of their dice have been hits. Half, 2/3, something half, maybe. Certainly happy with the amount of hits I'm getting there. I pass again. Does a bit of Path of the Woes' protection. Sure. Not sure it was necessary, but sure. I Red Arrow. Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Try and get Rohan in a position where it can really put up a fight, because I'm going to need all the time I can get. Shadow attacks Pelargir, no card. I think about a card. I don't know what card I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about no quartering it. Shadow gets 1 hit. I get 1 back. We'll take that all day long. Again, Gondor really putting in the hits. I move. I missed twice, so Gandalf will make it to turn 6. Shadow reinforces Pelargir from West Rondor. I really don't like this. I think Witch King should have only come in with the absolute bare minimum if this is the plan. Especially with only 1 will left. I'm not going to sortie from Dol Amroth or something. Make us Gileath the thing as the extra stack, just in case it needs to come help out on Rohan. So it's a mild I guess, but then you get the Near Harad to, I don't know. I think this is a mild whatever. I'm spending way too much time on that. Okay. Shadow gets Give It to Us and Pits of Mordor. I would imagine the red tile is going to go here. I get Wizard's Staff, which I could play on turn 6, I suppose. Apparently I'm committed to Gandalf never leaving the Fellowship. And most free. So okay, so maybe this is a way to think about it. With most free people games, you're living on 5 dice by turn 2 or 3. I'm living on 5 dice by turn 1. Now, the Fellowship has only moved the equivalent of once per turn, which is not fast, but I'm going to be on 5 dice. So maybe there's a strong argument for play Wizard staff. Keep cycling with Gandalf. Just when he dies, and then you get 6 dice. Maybe there's no need to be so hasty. Thank you, Treebeard. That's an interesting thought. I'd have to think more about it than I'm going to today, but it's an interesting thought. Shadow loses Isildur's Bane. Really just not interested in trying a corruption game at all. Fellowship declares 1 eye allocated and 4 more rolled. Sauron is back to looking for his ring. And I forget to roll. And then, okay, this. No Palantirs, so no Gandalf cycling on turn 6. Woe is me. This is about my last turn to get Gondor mustered, but there's not much Gondor left. Saving 3 regulars for Dead Men makes a lot of sense, and I'm holding Imrahil, so an elite with a leader for late reinforcement of Dol Amroth is reasonable. Rohan is only 2 steps from war, and Shadow does not have enough dice to do anything there. So I think there's a pretty strong argument to get Rohan up and running before Shadow even shows up. Shadow has 2, call it 3.5 stacks to take all their points they need. You know, the Dimral Dale can take Lorien. They've 2 stacks in the south to take Gondor and then start swinging towards Rohan, and then whatever Orthanc comes up with. That has the great potential to suddenly not be very easy. But you can just kind of bulldoze through Rohan at some point. Don't know. Choose to move first before there's rerolls on me, I suppose. There's the hit, and it's a 0 reveal. Okay, well. Hello, Aragorn, indeed. Lamedon's attack, no card. They get the hits. Lamedon gets 1 more, so thoroughly happy with that. Obviously, retreating to Eric and just continuing to be annoying would be funny, but nothing too crazy. I choose to muster Rohan. I don't think that's a bad choice at all. Shadow has enough armies or dice that mustering the elves wasn't going to be a thing before they're put under siege. So DA is under siege. Rohan's all the way to war. We had the worst connection issues I've ever experienced in Java. We were diagnosing that for half hour, at least 15 minutes. It was a whole thing. Okay, it wasn't 2 hours, but it felt like it. Shadow. Dol Amroth. Strategy card. I have a shield wall I'm willing to spend. I have an advantageous that I'm willing to spend. So I go with the shield wall versus a Mumakil. Obviously I would have preferred the advantageous here, but Shadow only gets 2. But the Gondor dice dry up. So I end up taking the 2 hits anyway. I just take them as full hits because I expect this press draw. The press draw happens, draws into New Powers Rising, plays a different strategy card. I will obviously be playing the advantageous position. Advantageous into Desperate Battle is perfect. We love that. Shadow gets 1. And I get 3. So that's what we like to see. Shadow presses again. A bit bold, but I don't hate it, and especially given they're holding a Deadly Strife. I play a no quarter, however, so we could be in Witch King snipe territory, but Shadow gets the 4 hits. I get all 5 hits in return, so 1 more hit, and Dol Amroth would have held with reinforcements, but it was not to be. So I actually kind of sat there for a few minutes, like, delay of game. I was like, come on. Your 8-2-5 took my 3-2-1 in just one swipe with both my cards having effect. But well played. Good on them. Hide with the will. And now I'm in a little bit of trouble. Maybe. It all depends on how much Rohan can put up a fight, right? The dew line's well defended. There's not really an army that can go for the northwest, even though I know Venali likes to do that. So the Southrons go to Osgiliath and the South Dunlander to Gap of Rohan. Sure. I don't know. I'd probably prioritize like putting South Rune to East Rune or something just for a theoretical take someday. I don't know. I'm not sure. Whatever. South Dunland guy moves. I'm spending way too much time on the random onesie-twosies. I put a guy in Helm's Deep and a guy in West Emnet. Sure. Make a West Emnet army that can kind of protect both Edoras and Helm's Deep and protect Helm's Deep so it can go under siege on its own. Shadow draws Shelob's Lair and Horde from the east. I draw Horn of Gondor and Power 2 Great. Love seeing the Power 2 Great. Buy some time for Lorien. One I allocated. None more rolled. Lots of attacks. And I roll 3 Palantirs, or 3 character dice. So maybe I make Mordor this turn. I could play Wizard Staff with a Palantir to help make that a reality and move 3 times in ring against one eye. I think I should be Wizard Staffing here. I don't know why I'm not. If nothing else, just take the character cycle while I'm here. Don't know. Safe. New Powers Rising, unfortunately, has played great use of one of the Palantirs, and obviously all those hit points in Rohan, ready to hit Rohan. I then spend a Palantir on Power 2 Great. Sure, we forget to move the elves down. I'm fairly confident that never mattered. Osgiliath full moves to Druidin. No longer protecting against Path of the Woses. If I had that right now, it probably wouldn't matter, but it could make life sad for Shadow. Like bring the Fords of Eisen army to Osgiliath, move them to South Athilion, or threatening to retake Minas Tirith, so they have to use their hybrid to reinforce Minas Tirith. And then I character die to South Athilion, ring, and then as last move, ring to West Horondor and Minas Morgul or something, or even just take Minas Morgul and then ring to Gorgoroth or something. Anyway, but I don't have it. Move again. I'm safe. I am just... Anyway, okay. That's what I do. Fords is attacked with the Gigantor stack and no Gandalf to keep them in check. I spend Imrahil because why not? I do get they get their 2 hits, but Shield Wall does the thing, and I get 1 back. So I retreat to West Emnet. At this point, I'm going to have moved, not get hit, not get revealed, and then ring move. And I don't want to give a free Helm's Deep, so I spend the whole round effectively to reinforce Helm's Deep, which gets attacked, but that didn't feel good. I have Éomer, so that's nice. Fighting Uruk-hai is played on Helm's Deep, though, so Éomer isn't going to go there, which he wasn't anyway, but Deadly Strife against nothing. 4 hits versus 2 back. Round 2, no card. I save my cards for somewhere I can win. My rage for somewhere where I'm Rage of Enrage for somewhere where it can matter, and just splat goes Helm's Deep. Yeah. Oh, my game crashed. Too bad there's no way we can save. Yeah. So Westonet's attacked. She gets her hit. I get nothing. I have to play Eomer into Edoras to even have a chance of surviving at all. I don't agree with this move at all. You move. Well, okay. I guess you're still worried about. No. I guess you're still worried about Path of the Woses, but I don't think you should be at this point. I think you should put the full army in fold and one guy in. And then puts a guy on East Imnet just in case I have Riders of Theoden. Sure. Edoras is attacked. I confusion. There is no confusion. One in, one out. Press. No card. I play something Mighty Attack. That's not a thing you can play here. Ince Rage. Oh yeah, if I'm going down, I might as well Ince Rage. There's the 3 hits. I get 2 back. But all of Rohan fell in 1 round. And that sucks. Shadows at 8 points. I have Power Too Great in play, and they have no strategies, so there's, that. But even then, just like this army in Dimril Dale just goes to Woodland Realm and reinforces with Southrons, and I'm not even Mordor. So we forgot. Yep. Oh, good. We remember the elves moving down from Power Too Great. And Shadow's holding 3 red tiles, even if I was to go for something. So I draw File and Riders of Theoden, so the one guy on East Imnet actually is doing his job. I declare 1 I allocated, 1 I rolled. But we're in Death Spiral territory. I take Gandalf to the 2. But I moved with the will because I was scared about Day Without Dawn. Meaning I don't get to the Mordor. A red tile goes in, I move again. I am hit for a 3. Take Gimli, sure. Shelob's Lair goes in, pass. And Shadow's just like, okay, fine, I'll go elsewhere. And I think this is a bit of Venali being Venali, but also just having the time for it. Venali's going for a city's victory. So I draw a card, I get Mithril Coat. I mean, I'd be doing just fine if I hit the track. Shadow's moving. I move to Buckland to protect a little bit against this from Bree and North Downs. And they just go around. I don't think that was the right move, but I don't think it matters. Oh, yeah, I forgot the other half move. Sure, whatever. Elves move down towards war because I'm worried that the South Downs army is actually just going to go straight to Grey Haven, so I need the elves to be able to muster all on their own. Which was maybe the point of moving to Cardolan rather than attacking Buckland. I just don't think you need to play that game. I make Mordor. They get Corsairs and Grond. It's a fairly friendly pool, but I am behind. I get there and back again and through a day and a night. Obviously, there and back again goes. Hunt pool is updated. 1 I allocated. 2 more rolled, so only 6 attacks for the Shadow. I need basically 5 movement dunk, and I don't get it. I put the elves to war because again, Grey Havens is like legitimately in trouble. And now they're actually in trouble. This, I think, was a very bad move. Dol Amroth to whatever this place is, Anfloss. Boy, my memory's amazing, and you should all feel that I am cool. I might have dead men still. And dead men into Pelargir, recapturing Dol Amroth extends this game dramatically for me. then I like very legitimately have a chance. I'm also worried that Grey Havens is in trouble, but Power 2 Great is in play, so I don't know quite what I'm doing there now that I say that out loud. Shadow even have the cards to kill it? They do, Corsairs, if they really want. Anyway, but I think this was categorically a wrong move. But I don't have Deadmen, so I put an Elven Elite in Grey Havens. I did not need to do that. That was because Power 2 Great is in play. That was a mistake. Shire is attacked. I confusion. There is mild confusion, but it does not even remotely close to matter. I draw a card. I'm looking for Deadmen. I will go alone. Dale is attacked. No card, no card. Shadow gets their hit. I get a hit, so that matters. Because now the elves are at war, and so the elves are going to have to retake Dale to extend the game. Shadow plays a card to get all their guys to Dale. Their Nazgul to Dale. Sure. I think leaving a guy in the Shire and then like attacking Buckland with it or something, you just use the other half of Ringwraiths or Abroad, or put a guy in Druiden and move that army. Just to protect yourself against random shenaniganery, but it doesn't really matter. I actually still have an Elven regular that I can put in both. What do I do? I put a guy in Karok and Woodland Realm, sure. Theoretically, those armies merge and attack. But I am, I believe, out of Elven Elites, yeah, so that's why I don't just put an Elven Elite in Woodland Realm. The guy in Grey Havens could be in Woodland Realm, but no. Buckland is attacked because why not? Buckland takes a hit and retreats to Old Forest, not that it matters. Now for Deadmen, I say if I had it, yeah. I ring attack Dale. Dread and Despair versus Daylight. Not a combo you see that often, but always a good time. I get nothing. Shadow gets 1. And I actually have because I have an Elven regular left over, I can make change. That was a thing I wasn't thinking about, is I definitely need to have left an Elven regular in the force pool or casualties, otherwise I can't take casualties efficiently. Shadow gets in to draw into the last red tile because that matters. Vanali says, how dumb am I feeling today? What are you thinking about doing, Vanali? Deadly Strifing. And Deadly Strifes, I get 4 versus 5. So, yep. I press because I have to. I tease that I can play Wizard Staff, but obviously I can't. Desperate Battle. I don't know why you play a Desperate Battle here, but you're so very obviously winning that it doesn't matter, and they get their hits. And then they take Woodland Realm for the bonus points because why not? That made me sad. The round before Dol Amroth fell, I felt so confident that this game was mine. And then Dol Amroth fell before Imrahil could get in, and then Rohan fell before anything could do anything, and I didn't make Mordor. If I had made Mordor instead, Wizard Staff into moving twice with Ring Move, and then this turn was like, or then the turn after was like the turn where Shadow moved to like the Shire and Dale, I got 2 moves in. Maybe there's some world where the hunt works in my favor and I'm dunking this round. But it'd be tough, especially with all the red tiles available to Shadow. So good on Vanali. First game goes in their favor, and we're on to round 2. Or game 2 of round 1. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.